the Haggadah. We did a few the simanim, right? We spoke about the kiddush. That's the first cup. We spoke about, it's a very interesting idea. Kiddush, from what the word kiddush comes from what? The word kiddush comes from kadosh, holy, right? Was a great rabbi once, he said a great line. He said the following, guys, right? A Jew has to remember to make his life holy, to sanctify himself. And, right, we have the 613 mitzvot. That's the guide of our life, right, for the Jewish people. And, right, we always have to stay away not to be similar like the non-Jew. So that rabbi said the following, guys, right? If the Jew always has to remember to do kiddush, to sanctify his life, and to stay away from like the behavior of the non-Jew. If he doesn't remember to do that, if he won't do kiddush, the non-Jew will do havdalah. What that means? Separate, right? Which means, right, if you try always to come closer to the non-Jew, right, you're not doing the kiddush, you're not sanctifying your life, you're trying to be similar to the non-Jew, you know what's going to happen? The Jew will separate from you. The non-Jew will separate from you, right? So you get the idea? You're trying to come closer to the non-Jew. You're not doing the kiddush. Well, he will do the havdalah. He will separate from you. Okay, guys. So we did we spoke about that. Okay. We spoke about that we eat a vegetable dip in it, right? In order to do something a little bit different that the children should ask, right? That's the karpas that we eat. And we wash the hands before, right? With no blessing. We wash the hands with no blessing. We eat that vegetable, dip it in salty water. That's the karpas. We break the matzah, the middle matzah to two. One part we're putting in a side, and one part we're going to use later for eating, right? When we say the blessing. Okay, we started on page 24, 25, guys, right? If you have this Haggadah. So we said it's Aramaic thing here, a few lines in Aramaic that are not necessarily connected, that was not originally in the Haggadah. This was probably set up when the Jewish people were in the exile, and the host is calling people, please come and join us for the meal. Right? And we're declaring like this. Let me read it in the Hebrew. Ha-lachma anya. This is the bread of affliction. The achlina avatana that our fathers ate in the land of Egypt. Okay? Kol dichfin, whoever needs, right? Whoever wants, yese ve'yochal, should come and eat. Kol de tzarich, whoever needs, he should come join us for the Pesach. Now, there are a few problems with this. Right? What are you saying here? Whoever wants, whoever needs should come and eat, and whoever wants should come to join the Pesach. Why repeating twice? Right? Whoever is hungry, let him come and eat. Whoever is needy, let him come and celebrate the Passover. Are we repeating twice the same thing? Are we saying twice? What's the difference? Whoever is hungry should come and join, and whoever is needy should come and celebrate the Passover.
Sort of the thing, and needy is more spiritual, maybe?
It'd be the other way around.
Passover's not all about eating.
Sorry?
Passover's not all about eating.
So you mean, Bernie wants to say, the first one means whoever is hungry, let him come and eat, right? Whoever is needy, let him just come and join the Passover Seder, not necessarily the food. Okay, that's it. Okay, you hear what he's saying? Just come join the party, so to speak, not necessarily the food. So that's a possibility, but some commentary goes with the following, guys. The first part is talking about the meal. Come, if you're hungry, come and join us for the meal. The second part is saying, come and join us for the Pesach offering. Okay, and that's what it means, right? Come and celebrate Passover, mean join us for the Pesach offering. The problem with that is, in the exile, did they have a Pesach offering? No, not in exile. If this was put together in the exile, why are they saying, come and celebrate with us Passover, meaning the offering of the Pesach? Right? In the exile, they did not have it. Right? You hear the problem, right? And it sounds like that this was in the exile, because you see, what's the ending? Now we're here, next year in Jerusalem, now we're a slave, and next year freedom, right? So if this is in the exile, how come we're mentioning celebrating the Passover if that means the offering? So there are a few answers for that. One answer might be like Bernie said, so it doesn't mean for the offering, right? Another answer you could say that this they added when they came back to Israel. Whoever is needy, let him come and celebrate Passover. That line they added when they came back to Israel. Okay? That now they have again the Pesach offering, and now they added, okay, whoever wants to come to join the meal, whoever wants to come to join the Pesach offering. Okay? So that's another way of answering this, to say that this was added after they came back from the exile of Babylonia. Okay? Another explanation is, come and celebrate Passover is telling you that we're going to treat the matzah like the Passover. Since that we don't have the offering of the Pesach, this is the exile, we're going to treat the matzah like the Pesach offering, and we give it some rules like the Pesach offering. Okay? So basically we have three options what this means, but just be aware that this is an addition that was added, it's in Aramaic, and it needs a bit of explanation exactly, right? What is referring here, the Pesach offering. Okay, guys. The way that works, right? Remember that the idea is that you're telling over the story of Pesach, right, to the next generation, to your children. So why we start, right, with the questions, right? Everybody knows the song Ma Nishtana, right? Why this night is different than all other nights? Why are we starting with the questions? 4 questions. Why we just don't go straight forward to the story, okay? We could turn over a page. Just go straight over. We're slaves for Pharaoh in Egypt. Why are we starting with questions? Any idea? So, Josh, yeah? Any idea why we're starting with questions? No. Okay, Ben, yeah?
Maybe to symbolize the passing from father to son of tradition.
Oh, the best way of passing over is to get your son, your children, and the truth is, it's true for every class, lecture, or teacher. The best way to pass it over, the information that you want to give over to somebody else, is to make it that it should bother him. Bring the subject and let him to ask the question. Now the children are asking the question, they are waiting for the answer. So it's true especially for the Seder night, you want to get the children involved, right? So you want them to ask the questions. Now, hopefully, they'll be on track to hear the answer. So it's true for every teacher and student, that's the truth. But especially in the Seder night, we want the child to ask, right? And he should wait to get the answers. That's why we do it with the technique of question and answer. Okay, so what are the questions? So let's see. So, right? What is this night different? Why this night is different than all other nights? All nights we eat chametz umatzah. We eat bread that is chametz, and we eat bread that is matzah. Guys, are you familiar? You know what's the difference? What makes a matzah? That it shouldn't be chametz.
It doesn't rise.
That's right. We don't let the dough to rise. In definition, we say that if the dough sat less than 18 minutes, right, it's a simple bread, right, and it's not chametz, And that's why the whole idea is in the matzah baking is that fast after mixing the flour and the water and making the dough, in 18 minutes this dough should be in the oven and not we don't let it sit too long because we want to protect it from being chametz. Okay, so all nights we eat both. We can eat bread, regular bread, and what we call non-chametz bread, matzah, right? How come halayla ze kula matzah? This night we eat only matzah. Okay, shebechol halilot, all nights, ana ochlim she'ar yarakot. We eat all kinds of vegetables. Halayla ze maror. This night we're eating the bitter herbs. Okay, the third question. Shebechol halilot enanu matbilim. We are not dipping afilu pam achat. We don't have a mitzvah. You don't have to dip even once. Halayla ze, you'll be dipping twice. If you remember, we spoke, the first time is the salty water, right? And then later on, we'll dip the bitter herbs in the charoset. Okay? So you have at least twice that you're dipping this night. Fourth question, shebechol halilot, all nights, enanu achlim, right? Anu achlim, sorry, we usually eat, sit down to eat. Ben yoshvin, if we're sitting, or mesubin, leaning. Halayla ze, this night, kulanu mesubin. This night we all are leaning. So the idea is like this. You see, this is, let's start with this. Why the fourth one? Why we are leaning tonight? What's the idea of leaning? Not just
Being
sitting?
kingly.
Sorry?
Being like royalty or
Royalty, that's right. Especially back in the day, guys, are you familiar? You know, they did not sit on high chairs like we sit today. They used to sit on the sofas like you can see it in still some Arab countries that they sit on low, on the floor, on a couch and stuff, and lean. Okay? So that's why acting like royalty, this is one of the things that they also, rabbinical mitzvah, that we should act with royalty on the Seder in the Pesach night. That's why it's a mitzvah to lean. Yes?
These questions, they're commonly referred to the 4 questions, right?
Right.
But really, it sounds like there's only one question and then there's 4 answers.
Why is one question and 4
Why are
answers?
they called 4 questions whenever they're not really questions, they're answers?
No, the question is, the first line is just why this night is different than other nights.
Right.
Now
and
there
then
are
it gives
4
4 answers.
It's not answers. We're saying the 4 things that it's different.
Right,
What is this
It's
night
an
different?
answer to the question.
Where is the answer? Why this is different?
No,
The question was why this night is different. So what are you answering?
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
answering with all these 4 different answers.
No. So not
are they
what.
referred
So
to
the
as
question.
questions?
Okay. The question is not what is the difference. Is the why. This is listing only what is different. Tonight we eat only matzah. Tonight we eat only the bitter herbs. These are the differences. And now we want to know why.
Okay.
The main question is
So
why,
we-
not what. This is the what. What Pesach night is different than the others? So here you go. There are 4 things that is
Right,
different.
then would it have only
Yeah.
been known as the one question? Or just
Why one?
question?
We're
Because
meant-
there's only one question.
Why it's different?
Yeah.
What will be the?
There's only one question.
What do you
So
see
Why
the-
are they referred to as the 4 questions?
Okay, so I hear what you're saying. The idea, I'll tell you what. The idea is like this, guys. The rabbis put together these 4 questions is that the son should ask at least these questions. But obviously, guys, if the son is asking more, the more the better, right? So the rabbis wanted to be sure that we won't miss. And they put together these 4 questions. And if the son will ask them, right, he'll get the idea, what's going on tonight? Why are we eating matzah? Why are we eating the bitter herbs, right? And hopefully the father will answer him and they'll discuss. This is, guys, to create a discussion about the exodus of Egypt. The son will ask, and the father has to answer. So this is the minimum that at least that the son should ask this. But obviously, you can ask more and more the better. Okay? They just wanted to guarantee that no one should miss the mitzvah of telling over your children. The custom is, guys, that children ask this question to fathers, right? But if no one is around and even your own, you just go ahead and also ask it to yourself. Yes, Brandon.
Like coming up on Pesach, what's on number 4? Like, so how do we recline, like rather than sitting normal at the table?
So you just lean to, you lean to your left side. If you have a chair with an arm, it's even more comfortable. And if no, you could just do something like this, make yourself comfortable and lean to the left. You lean into the back. You lean to the back. You want to make sure to the left. Guys, why to the left and not to the right?
So you don't choke to death.
Very good. The 2 pipes, right, in the throat here, right, is the breathing and eating. And when you're talking, the pipe of breathing opens the way that it has like a cover. When you're talking, it opens. So, and when you're eating, it's closed. So you don't want to talk while you're eating. The same thing, you don't want to lean on the right side also. That opens it also.
So is that
Same idea, not to eat.
To the left.
Not to eat on the right side and not to talk while you're eating.
You know
Yes.
when people like drink and then they cough, like it went down the wrong pipe? Is that what happens? Was they leaning to the right?
No, that even if it went to the right pipe, sometimes you eat too fast or too much or something like that. It didn't fall in
So you can
the
be
right
like-
the right speed.
It'd be okay if you literally laying down on a couch
To the left?
to the left.
Yeah, as long as it's to the left, you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There are people that take like real nice chairs, comfortable, with pillows. Guys, royalty is royalty, no joke.
That's the life.
Huh?
That's the life.
Yeah.
Only whenever
Bring
they're
your lazy
eating or
boys
having
for
fun.
Pesach.
Whenever it comes to the duties, it's hard stuff.
Okay, I have a friend, so I didn't, he's still around. I have a good friend in Toronto that, right, the table is set. It says in a halakha that you should take out the beautiful dishes, the nice cutlery dishes, whatever you have the nicest to make this table really nice for the Seder night, right? So the table is all set and beautiful tablecloth, flowers, everything, the whole thing. Right, and they're pouring the first cup to make kiddush, and the guest by accident, spills the cup, right, and right, the whole tablecloth is with wine, and he felt so bad. It didn't even start, right? This is the beginning. If it was at least 1 hour to go, fair, but we didn't start even, right? It already messed up the table. So the rabbi wanted to make him feel good. He took his cup of wine, the rabbi, and the rabbi said, "This is a night of freedom," and he poured his wine on the tablecloth. So his wife said, "This is a night of freedom, and tomorrow you'll be cleaning the tablecloths." Okay, guys. If you realize, we highlight, just to mention, and we highlight in the Manishtana, you see, why we eating matzah tonight, that night? Why we eating matzah on Pesach? What's the whole story with the matzah?
They had to move quickly.
The rush of the Jewish people, that redemption happened fast, right? The idea is like this. You see, redemption, it had to be in a way there should be no doubts that was the hand of Hashem. Because you might say, hey, hold on, the Jews were there for 210 years. Come on, so give it a day or two to leave Egypt. I mean, what's so bad, yeah? If the 210 years, what's the big rush that they have to leave in a few hours, Egypt, right? The answer is, right, guys, that it had to be in a way that there should be no doubts that it was the hand of Hashem. Don't say it was a process and it was this and that. It was the hand of Hashem. In a few hours, all Jews are out of Egypt. Okay, so they didn't even have enough time that the dough should rise. Okay, so the matzah is redemption. The bitter herbs is the suffering, right? We are dipping twice for the change, right? And also we are leaning. So you have here the two things, guys. You have here the suffering and the royalty. That's what the child is asking. What we're doing tonight, right? Also remembering the suffering, mentioning the suffering, and also the royalty, that will bring him again to ask, we're eating in one hand, matzah is redemption. One hand, the bitter herbs, suffering. What's going on? Okay, so now that the child asked the question, here we go, the father is starting to give him the answer. And these lines are very important. What we're saying to him, right? Avadim hayinu leFaro b'Mitzrayim. We were slaves for Pharaoh in Egypt. Vayotzienu, Hashem took us out. Hashem, our God, took us out from there, right? Beyad chazaka. With a strong hand, v'zoah netuah, strength. Now, if that God did not take us out from there, and he didn't take out our fathers from there, we would still be there, us, our sons, right? Forever we'll be there, right, as slaves for Pharaoh in Egypt. And this is a very fundamental idea, guys. If God didn't take us out from Egypt, we will probably be still there. And that's why this makes it relevant that when we are celebrating Pesach, it's not only something that happened over, right, 2,000 years ago, right? It's something that is relevant for us, to each one of us. That if God didn't redeem us, will we still be there? So if you're asking if the Exodus of Egypt has to do something with you, what's the answer? Yes, straightforward, yes. Right? That's why we have to appreciate it, right? Not only as a great miracle that happened in the history to our great-grandfathers, right? It's something that actually is directly connected to us. Now, afilu even, kulanu chachamim, even we are wise, we are nevonim, we have knowledge, kulani skenim, we are older, kulanu yodim et Torah, we know all the Torah, we still have the mitzvah to speak over, to tell over, mitzvah aleinu lesaper, to tell over the story of the Exodus of Egypt. So this is the message and this is the idea. You see, why even the wise man, the elder man, the knowledge man has a mitzvah to tell it over? Why? Because that's the obligation of the night. It's not only to tell over the story to yourself, it's actually to give it over to the next generation. So even if you're wise and you're smart and you have the knowledge and you know you're familiar with the whole story of Pesach, of the Exodus of Egypt, you want to make sure you're giving it over to the next generation. That's the obligation. So that's why, right, it's not only about yourself, it's actually giving over to the next generation. So therefore you have a mitzvah to give it over, even though saying that you yourself know everything. I know everything, well, you have to add to me something new. No. Just like you know, we want your child to know. And how your child will know? If you'll teach him and you'll tell him. Okay. וכל המרבה לספר ביציאת מצרים, whoever told, spend time more and more about the Exodus of Egypt to tell, הרי זה משובח, that's the best way, that's the preferable way. You see, now, is no measure, you see the idea, we get the idea. So, right, you have the mitzvah to give it over to the next generation. Tell them, teach them, tell them the stories, right? Spread the ideas about it, right? Now, is a measure for how much time? Could you do it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour? Does it say the time, any time limit here?
Yeah. Don't you have to eat the afikomen by like 12:30 or something? So.
Right. So you could say that you're talking about the mitzvah of eating afikomen, but I'm asking the mitzvah of telling the story of the Exodus of Egypt. Do you see any time limit for that? No. And that's why he's telling you it's actually no time limit, because each one will do differently. So it's very individually. But the idea is the more the better. That's what he's really telling us. There's no maximum for it. The more the better. And it's no limit, no time limit for how much time I should tell over the story of Exodus, right? And that's, by the way, we bring in right away the next story to teach us this idea. Maaseh b'Rabbi Eliezer, with Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Elazar, Ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Tarfon, these great rabbis, shehayu mesubin b'Bnei Brak, they were sitting in Bnei Brak, and they were telling over the story of the Exodus of Egypt, והיו מספרים ביציאת מצרים, כל אותו הלילה, all night. They were so busy talking about the Exodus of Egypt, they didn't realize that it's already sunrise. Ad shebau talmidem, the students come, v'amru lahem, they tell them, Rabboteinu, our masters, our teachers, Higi Azman is the time of Kriyat Shema, to recite the Shema of the morning. So this story is proving the idea that the more the better, and it's also proving the idea that even you're a great scholar, you're smart, you know, right? You still have a mitzvah of talking about the Exodus of Egypt. Like they themselves, that they were so busy, they didn't realize that the whole night passed by. The students are coming and knocking on the door and telling them, hey guys, time for Shema for the morning. And for us, it's time for Mincha.